Goku would lead the charge as the combined might of the Fantastic Four would set their sights on stopping the plans of the Red Ribbon Army. The group that was thought to have been left for dead, much to the shock of Commander Red himself, as he watched on screen, Goku flying around on his flying Nimbus cloud, evading all of the shots of the various soldiers. The Thing, Ben Grimm, running rampage on the ground itself, destroying all of their tanks. The Human Torch flying high and raining down fire from above, while the main team had cover from the Invisible Woman, Susan Richards, as well as Dr. Reed Richards, alongside the likes of Bulma Briefs. "I paid them good money," Commander Red said. "They were supposed to make sure that this wouldn't happen." Commander would get his main man on the phone, alerting for the Frightful Four for their services to be needed once again. Mercenary Tao, much to his disbelief, seeing the young Goku and others still alive. He could have sworn he had taken them all out with the Dodon Ray, but no matter. He would make sure to finish the job this time. With the likes of the Wizard, the Red Ghost, and Yamcha, who was still under the control of the Red Ribbon Army, having been transformed into an android version of the Human Torch, or as they had dubbed him, Android 10. The Frightful Four would be sent out to confront the Fantastic Four, but this time they were ready. As Johnny came face to face with Yamcha, he was given help by Reed, trying to break through the control that they had over him. It was obvious that what had happened to the boy was not of his own free will, and rather than just trying to kill him for the sins of the others, they were hoping to save his life. In the meantime, Reed also found himself engaging with the Wizard once again, an old rivalry now renewed, while the Thing would try to run rampage, looking to get back at the Red Ghost. In the meantime, as Goku got closer to the main base, he would be stopped as he came face to face with Mercenary Tao. "So, young Richards, it seems you managed to survive our last encounter. You are truly a persistent one. But you should know that you have wounded my pride. For I am one who strives for perfection, and that means never missing a target. A mistake that I plan to rectify here and now. I hope you have made peace, for this will be your last battle." Goku would engage with Mercenary Tao once again, but this time, much to the mercenary's shock, the boy would be the one in control of the battle. He was much faster, stronger, quicker, much more refined in his technique and ability. The mercenary wasn't able to overwhelm him with his skill or with brute force. The boy was able to match him in every way, shape, and form. But it was impossible. How had he improved so much in just a short amount of time? It had only been a few days ago. Just a few short days? Was this boy that much of a prodigy? Or perhaps he had been holding back? No matter. Tao was going to make sure he went all out this time. He wasn't going to allow his reputation to be sullied. And yet still, for every dirty tactic he tried to use, it was no matter to Goku. Goku was able to take everything that Tao could dish out and give it back in spades, leaving him completely dumbfounded. In the meantime, high above them, two flaming beings would fly and battle towards one another. Johnny and Yamcha. Yamcha had been chosen specifically because they thought he was the best candidate to undergo the process. To best explain what Johnny and company were dealing with at the moment in regards to Yamcha, Yamcha is an android in the same sense of how androids 17 and 18 are androids. Technically speaking, cyborgs. humans with mechanical upgrades. However, unlike the androids that we will come to see later in this series, Yamcha does not have the benefit of having the infinite engine, or the infinity engine as it's referred to. So that means Yamcha does not have a steady flow of power that will never run out. But instead, he just has the upgrades to the human body, allowing him to mimic the powers of the Human Torch. The main reason for this is that this is to pay homage to the original Human Torch from Marvel Comics. Not Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, but I'm talking about the original Human Torch from Marvel Comics back in the 1940s. This was the Human Torch who was originally just an android with the ability to master fire and could set himself ablaze. And the two do have history together in the main Marvel storyline, so that's where the homage comes to here. As Johnny battled against Yamcha, he was trying to help the boy break free of the control. Yamcha still retained some of his memories, but there was a small chip inside of his mind, where the Red Ribbon Army had been using it to control all of his movements, using it to give him command and stripping him of his free will. It was an intense battle, and Johnny felt like he was being pushed to the ends of his limits. He had always had to control his fire power and knew the proper times when to raise it up, but still he had never been pushed to the point where he had to burn this hot, and he was fighting against someone who was seemingly his equal. The two would continue their clash as the compound of the Red Ribbon Army became a chaotic battlefield. Commander Red, seeing what was happening, was looking to try to get away. However, in doing so, he was trying to make sure that he didn't go down with the ship. Even more as he left his own lieutenant, Officer Black, behind to deal with the mess. Meanwhile, Goku would continue making his way through the fortress in his battle with Mercenary Tao. The fight reaching its crescendo as Tao, desperate to try to fend from Goku, would create distance before throwing back at him a grenade. However, Goku would simply kick it back just as quickly towards the mercenary, and before he had a chance to protect himself, he would be engulfed in the blast. With no one stopping him, Goku would continue on until eventually he was in the main command office with Officer Black and Commander Red. The famed son of Dr. Richards, Goku Richards. And you're Commander Red. Nice to know that my name is known worldwide, especially to the likes of you. But I must ask, why have you tried to get into my way? Because you're evil. You hurt innocents without any regard. I'm putting a stop to it, here and now. You've done well to get this far, kid. Truly, I'm impressed. But I'm afraid your luck's run out. Commander Red would make his escape, while leaving the likes of Commander Black behind to deal with Goku. Goku was able to take care of the officer without much trouble, but Commander Red knew this. He had taken the time to get into his own giant robotic suit, trying to tear down the castle, destroying it and hoping to get Goku caught up in the fire itself. However, much to his chagrin, Goku was able to escape as the ceiling was collapsing in on the both of them. And as for Officer Black, well, he wasn't too keen on the idea of his commander betraying him and leaving him to die. Goku was able to make short work of Commander Red, taking back the Dragon Balls and watching as the commander's giant robot would fall and crash into the ground itself. Of course, the commander tried to get away with his life, but after seeing how cowardly he was, so much so that he used his men as nothing more but fodder, well, they felt no real loyalty towards him anymore. Especially Officer Black, who saw firsthand that his commander was preparing to leave him to die while he would escape with the Dragon Balls. So, it wasn't of any consequence when, as the small commander attempted to escape, he was shot dead by his own officer. Of course, it didn't mean that the goals of the Red Ribbon Army had changed. It just meant that now they were going to be working under new leadership. Short-term leadership, as Officer Black, who now attempted to use the broken vessel that Commander Red once used, also tried to get revenge on Goku. Only that didn't turn out well in his favor at all, and he too was defeated. But instead of attempting to escape, he went down in the fiery blaze and was destroyed also. In the meantime, most of the Red Ribbon Army's forces were taken out. The Red Ghost and the Wizard were soundly defeated, along with Mercenary Tao. All that was left was the likes of Yamcha, who Reed had been looking for a way to stop. With help from Bulma, the two would make a small EMT-like bomb, detonating it close enough to Yamcha, hopefully to short circuit whatever was controlling him on the inside, and causing his fiery rampage to be brought to an end. Johnny would manage to hold Yamcha in place as the blast would be set off, and once the electric field had hit Yamcha's system, it finally put the young boy out of commission and caused him to transform back into his regular state. With the Red Ribbon Army now defeated, and with the Dragon Balls they had taken now collected, that brought the total of what they had up to 6. They were still missing one more, but unfortunately, Bulma's Dragon Radar wasn't really working up to par at the moment, and she had been working on it for a while now. They would look to try to regroup and get their bearings, as they would visit with Master Roshi and Krillin, who had been staying behind and training on Turtle Island along with Master Roshi himself. They would be surprised when they learned about everything that happened, and Krillin wished so desperately that he could have been there to help them. He was already in awe of the fact that he was in front of the iconic Fantastic Four, and you could say he was a bit of a fanboy to say the least, especially in the sight of Ben Grimm, the Thing, who was his favorite member. Seeing their conundrum, though, Roshi would make a suggestion. If they were trying to find the last Dragon Ball, he knew someone who might be able to help. His sister, known as Fortune Teller Baba. Telling of where she stayed at, an oasis hidden away in the desert, along with the main group, they would all travel to where Fortune Teller Baba was. As they made their way, Yamcha was finally able to get his bearings back. Puar was just happy to have back her friend once again, and for Yamcha, he was grateful to the team for saving his life, although now he felt like things would never really be the same for him. He wasn't sure what to make of himself. Was he man, machine, human, monster? He couldn't really make it out. Reed promised that they'd find a way to reverse what happened, but Johnny was actually having other ideas, but he'd keep it to himself for now. In the meantime, Goku, Krillin, Yamcha, Bulma, Appa, who was also coming along in hopes of using the Dragon Balls to bring his father back to life, Johnny, Ben, Reed, Susan, and Roshi would all arrive to the home of Fortune Teller Baba, who was expecting them. Although Roshi didn't get much of a warm greeting, as the brother and sister were always at odds with one another, as she didn't really care for her brother and his meathead Neanderthal martial arts or nonsense. She liked using the finer arts, the mystic arts. Of course, for Reed, he viewed this as a way of gaining more knowledge and research. While, sure, as a part of the Fantastic Four and living in the world that he lived in, Reed wasn't the type of person who could just deny that magic and things of the mystical nature existed, That would just be ignorant on his part. And of course, it didn't mean that Reed still wasn't a man of science. It just meant that Reed had to accept that there were other aspects to the world, other aspects that he didn't fully understand, but that he was willing to try. Of course, fortune teller Baba wasn't going to give anything away for free. If they wanted the information, they were going to have to earn it in a little contest. Roshi, of course, would just roll his eyes at this, mainly because he felt like it was going way too overboard. But this was the price they had to pay. Either that or money. Now, of course, with Reed, money wasn't really much of an issue. And as he quickly cut the check, Baba was more than satisfied. But for Goku, he still wanted to fight, much to everyone's chagrin. Reed wondered if this was a part of Goku's nature, as the boy was never one to turn down a challenge. And Baba was intrigued, but she had something in mind for all of them. She decided she would call on 5 powerful warriors, and out of the whole group, any 5 of them who wanted to fight could fight alongside as well. For the main group, it would be Goku, Krillin, Yamcha, Johnny, and Ben, going up against the likes of Fangs, the Vampire, the Invisible Man, Bandages, the Mummy, Spike, the Devil Man, and someone else. Someone familiar to them. It was Gohan. Reed and the others couldn't believe it. Gohan was here, but he had died. He had been dead for almost 13 years now. They all knew this. But yet here he stood, as plain as day, the same way he had always been to them. It's good to see that you are all doing well and prospering. You've changed a lot since the last time we've met. Especially you, Goku. Look at how you've grown. Master Gohan. My. Hello, Roshi, old friend. Hello, Master. How are you? I've been doing quite well. I was invited to come along to this little tournament, and I can't wait to see how you've all improved. The main part of the tournament would be as much as it was in the original story, if not more so favored to Goku's side, with everyone on the team being slightly more stronger or way more stronger than their original counterparts, or with just different members in general. It didn't take much for Baba to realize that she had been in over her head, and that the people she was dealing with were absolute monsters. But when it came time for Goku and for Gohan to battle, the two of them going into their martial arts flurry, getting a chance to see how they had both improved over time, Gohan was more than thrilled to see just how far Goku had come, to see how far he had risen in his abilities. And for Goku, he had gotten a chance to experience something he thought he'd never get to have again. Goku would actually be the victor, but honestly it didn't matter at that point. For Reed, as he stood beside Baba in that moment, he had so many questions. How? How is this? How is this possible? I thought that a man of science like you would be open to all possibilities. Contrary to popular belief, there is another side. It's called Otherworld. Otherworld? Yes, it's where you go after death. Otherworld is the pathway to many other places and realms. Realms far beyond human comprehension. It's not as simple as heaven and hell as you might think. No, there are many different places. And yet all the same, there's so much more. For Reed, this confirmed what mankind had wondered for from the very beginning. that there was an afterlife, a world beyond that after death. Does everyone who dies? Yes, they all go to the other world, judged for where they will spend their eternity. But of course, it's not like you stay there forever. No, eventually, if you choose to, through various means, you may have the chance to return to Earth one day. Although that's a form of reincarnation, and that's probably way above your pay grade at the moment. Wait, reincarnation is real? It's a long process. You shouldn't worry yourself with it. Knowing you probably wouldn't even want to come back. It's not like everyone who has the option to chooses. Some would prefer to spend their final resting place in the other world. It's a lot more bigger than you might possibly expect. For Reed, this left him entirely intrigued. Was it possible to get to Otherworld without being dead? And if so, what could you find? What could you discover? This left a whole new plethora of possibilities, all just waiting to be discovered. But that wasn't the main focus for now. For now, the group was just happy to see Gohan again. He had been the one that helped them during the crash, the one that taught them and trained them to use their abilities. He made them who they were. And Gohan as well. He was also proud of them. He had been watching from other worlds, seeing their exploits, their journeys, their adventures. He had truly been proud of them all. He explained that this was a one-time thing. He could only be back in the world of the living for one day, the one pass he would ever get. And spending it with them, well, he couldn't have thought of any better way to use it. Of course, Goku at first wanted to offer to bring him back with the Dragon Balls. However, Gohan would explain that the Dragon Balls could not bring someone back who died of natural cause. And even more so, Gohan had made peace with his death. He was enjoying the other world. There were many martial arts masters from days gone by, of whom he was learning a lot from, as well as many cute and beautiful women, of course. As such, he was enjoying his final resting place, and he encouraged them to live their lives to the full, knowing that one day they would all be reunited. With that, Gohan would say his goodbyes, and fortune teller Baba would give them the location of the last Dragon Ball. After getting all 7, Shenron would be summoned once again, and he would bring back all those who died due to the cause of the Red Ribbon Army, including Upa's father. With the day being saved and with the Red Ribbon Army vanquished, the team set off to return home, although now a lot more intrigued and a lot more vitalized in their journeys, respectively. For Yamcha, he had many tests run on him. The option was for him to undo the process that had been done, and through rehab, he could become human once again. But Johnny had other ideas. I like to think that it's a sign, Reed. What are you talking about, Johnny? Hey, Yamcha. Yes? You know, we've done some digging in about you. You used to be abandoned in the desert, right? Johnny would watch as Yamcha held his head down. It wasn't something he was necessarily proud of, and knowing that this was a hero team, they might have been tempted to throw him in jail. Well, let's just forget about all that. And for now, I like to think that maybe you could have a chance to do more, don't you think? How? Well, you've got this power. You could do anything with it, but why don't you put it to good use? I think all you need is someone to show you the way. And who better than the original Human Torch? You want to train me? Really? Yeah, why not? I mean, if anyone's going to teach you, who better than me? And honestly, I think you have a chance to even surpass me. So what do you say? For Yamcha, he was beyond in disbelief. The fact that the Human Torch wanted to train him, to give him this opportunity, he wasn't going to turn it down. He eagerly accepted. And from there, the next part of their journey would continue. The next 3 years would pass them by. Krillin would stay on Kame Island with Roshi. Roshi had taken a liking to Krillin. And Krillin, well, he decided what he wanted for himself. He wanted to inherit the will of the Turtle Hermit, or to become the next Turtle Hermit Master. Roshi had been looking to pass the title on to someone else for a while now, and seeing as how Krillin was the most eager and most accepting, he figured he'd be best suited for the task. He had thought about giving it to Goku, but Goku had his own plans. He would continue on in West City as a part of the Fantastic Four, fighting against evil, training, learning, and growing as a person. As the 3 years would pass, Goku, who had now reached the age of 15, had grown in his strength, his skill, his mastery, and his understanding. The Fantastic Four continued to flourish, and now it looked like the next tournament was just around the corner, and Goku was all too eager to participate. Yes, folks, the 22nd World Martial Arts Tournament was upon them. And for Goku, he was setting his sights on first place. But little did he know that there were many more who also had their sights on Goku. Some looking for revenge, and others with more sinister motives. This concludes Dragon Ball Fantastic Tales. What if Goku joined the Fantastic Four? Season 1, Part 5. As always, if you enjoyed today's video, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that has to come out now and in the future. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video as we continue with Dragon Ball Fantastic Tales, What if Goku joined the Fantastic Four, Season 1, Part 6. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. Signing off, and I'll see you next time.